I could see to break that ceiling to get into that, like to win that first drum trophy or win that first gold medal or whatever. I still definitely
search.
Yeah.
We can talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Close on several occasions.
Have been close so many times, and Blue Devils swoop in.
Hey, that's the way it works, man.
Yeah.
If it's supposed to happen, it'll happen.
It'll happen eventually.
I think Brett Kuhn told me
happen.
one of the things I always go back to, as far as like writing or like thinking about competition or that especially over the summer. He told me one time, like I think maybe when he was still with Cavaliers or he was consulting with Bluecoats at one time. He's like, because they had won drums several times, Cavaliers, and he's like, he goes, whenever we were fortunate enough to win drums, I never tried to win drums.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Just like it was like an honest byproduct of like.
Doing the right things.
Doing the right things, making great musical decisions that support the core, that support the overall show, the concept, the fulfilling something, to a great degree, and it just happens.
It's just like an organic result of like trying to do the best that you can here.
So I think you can really, when you... Oh, jeez. Yeah. Ice cream.
Yeah. Alright, we'll edit that part out.
Yeah. You can buzz him in, talk about this summer.
Oh my god.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
Just organically trying to make everything happen,
do
the right things.
Yeah, it's about not trying to. You can see when you watch groups, like if it feels like contrived or feels, weird for the sake of weird, or just I don't know.
Are they just only talking about winning, or are they only talking about like just being great?
Sure.
Trying to max out their product.
Because I could definitely see if you're thinking about trying to win that drum trophy, you're going to put more pressure on yourselves to be perfect all the time. And a lot of times that's not what you want to do. You want to be as relaxed and loose as possible, and you don't want to be thinking about like, if you're afraid to mess up, you're going to mess up.
Right.
And if you're constantly thinking about like, oh, a drum trophy's on the line, holy crap, I have to be perfect, you're already dead in the water.
Yeah. And
it's just, you got to just forget about it pretty much. Like our friend Dan Shack, you ever met him?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He was a center at Cavaliers in 2011 when they won that drum trophy, and he was like, yeah, we never really talked about it. Like, we just kind of, Mac would come in, we'd do our thing, we'd try to get better every day, and then it just kind of happened at the end of the season.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Well, I guess to kind of segue from, we were just talking obviously about your experience, like learning how to put pit together and battery and stuff, like, and I guess this doesn't have to be specific to Bluecoats, but obviously it's your gig right now. In like the design process for you guys, are you like picking out theme and then music, or kind of like throwing out ideas and music and theme and like starting and just like trying to see what everybody brings to the table with ideas? And
it's a little different every year, honestly. It's never anything in a vacuum, I guess. We've never really, maybe a couple times have built like a show around like music we really dig, or really like. But usually it's more like there's usually some kind of foothold. There's either like a I don't know, a dance piece, a video, or something like that like that's an idea, and then somebody the music that can go with that, or there's this piece of music we all gravitate towards, and then it sounds something like this, and like the concept kind of attaches. Both those things kind of grow like individually a little bit, and then at some point they obviously have to like mesh together and support so that the fine tuning gets there. But it's always kind of like two different elements kind of working almost like it's put together something that can flow musically, has enough variety and contrast, and enough for us to do our own composing with too. It's open ended enough, I think, and has an electronics component or some role for like the amplification. Not necessarily like soundtracky, but like just some role for that. Like it'd be tough for us to play Beethoven, I think, or Shostakovich in a really like traditional way. I think just the way that our sensibilities are, I guess.
Gotcha.
Not that we never would. I'm just saying.
It's
weird.
No, I follow you.
So what you're saying is
spoiler alert, we're playing Shostakovich this summer.
That's the show for next summer.
Shostakovich 10.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
All Russian 5 or 4, whatever it is.
So there's no like set process, but like at some point you have to find something you like, I think, and then you have to find like the counterpoint in that opposite kind of if it's music you like, or it's a visual kind of idea you like, to find an equally strong kind of motivator in the other discipline, and then those kind of things kind of move.
Yeah, awesome.
Forward and trade back and forth.
And then as far as I guess like your role as fitting in like the percussion in the front and the battery music, do you like coordinate a lot with the brass caption, the brass arranger about like, hey, we want to sort of create this moment or this sort of like pacing, or how does all that kind of roll?
Yeah, it's more than just. I mean, I worked with Doug Thrower, who's the arranger, the brass arranger. We've worked together since my time at Bluecoats, and he's been there for like 25 years now. And
he's doing pretty well.
he's awesome. He's,
yeah.
A fantastic arranger and just one of the funniest and best people that I know. But anyhow, our roles have kind of like at the beginning it was definitely like that. Like we'd kind of be in our bubble a little bit and just produce music, and then it would go to the visual, and then it would get put on the field. Like it was. Now it's very like everybody's pretty much in on like every decision in some way. Like John Vanderkoff probably has as many inputs like to the music design process as I do or Doug does, like just because he's the one that has to make it work, obviously, like, and has to make sense to him from a flow and getting people from different parts of the field, and
it's like kind of you're creating a moment in a production.
So there's nothing we can really, as far as like moments of the show or kind of effects or like things we want to create, nothing can happen in a vacuum. I think, and have the level of coordination that you want. So from a micro standpoint of music, it's like it's Doug also, and Vince Oliver, who's the music coordinator and electronics designer. But his like coordinator role is, I guess we have probably a pretty unique, maybe not, but at least it is to me, kind of relationship. We all kind of usually are working in different parts of the show, and then we kind of like just kind of trade files a little bit, and like Vince will mess with something Doug did, Vince will mess with something I did with like in ad bars here, I'll do something with what Doug has done, and we somewhere along the line it kind of like, we have camp this week, okay, here's our current version, it kind of comes together with all that, and then continues to evolve. But it's very I guess that's a very organic process too. It's communication, but it's built, I think, on just kind of trust, and nobody like owns their stuff too harshly or too aggressively.
Everybody understands, like, we're just trying to like throw as many ideas to see which is the best one.
I just usually assume the thing that I feel best about in the show that I've worked on and spent the most time on is not going to be cut. That way.
Well, that was always the joke at Rhythm X when we were there. It's like
Tim Fairbanks. Don't have a favorite part of the show; it'll get cut.
It'll get cut at some point. Just don't get too attached.
Yeah, it's not an original thought on my end. It's just like it's the way I can get through this process.
That's a good way to approach it, though, and to keep you from keep your pride in check a little bit. Like,
I'm sure you guys have done a little bit of writing or dealt with that, but too, like when something like feels right to you, kind of thing.
You're like, oh man, that just hit.
Sweet. All right.
This is gonna be sweet.
Yeah, invariably that's the thing that or that one little detail that only you care about, but it's really important to you, like in the arrangement.
Yeah. I remember in 2010, for instance, like obviously copyrights are very big these days and have been for a while, but we learned all this stuff. I think it was Bernstein stuff that we just didn't end up getting the rights to, so we had learned like 2 or 3 charts.
This is a Crown, right?
Yeah, that just ended up getting cut for the 2010 season. Like, we're not doing any of that. So we're like, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
copyright's a big thing to move around these days.
Oh yeah.